After Sunday's game against the Minnesota Vikings, most people, both media and fans, assume, and probably rightfully so, that Bears head coach Mark Trestman will be sent packing, and maybe other people will be sent packing soon afterwards. And there are going to be major changes at Hallis Hall heading into this offseason. There probably will be. How many changes, how significant, and how far-reaching and deep they will be, I don't know. Do I think we'll get the wide-ranging, sweeping, vast changes that are needed from the very top of the organization all the way down? Probably not. You'll get a GM desperately trying to save his job by firing the head coach and say, let me get another guy in so I can run this ship even further into the fucking ground. But with that said, we're assuming at this point in time that Trestman's going to be fired, and I think he has to be. I mean, what have you really seen to indicate that you think that this guy can lead you to the promised land? What signs have you even given you any indication that things will be any better in 2015? If that's the case, Trestman's got to go. I'm not usually a big fan of firing a coach after a season or two, but sometimes it's called for and sometimes it's justified. And in this particular case, it is clearly justified. They fired a 10-6 Lovie Smith after 2012 to bring in a guy who went 8-8, and then will either, depending on what happens in Sunday's game against Minnesota, either win 5 or 6 games in 2014. You're heading in the wrong direction, and you're still going to be heading in that wrong direction. So now the speculation comes, who will the Chicago Bears bring in as their next head coach? That's going to be a major storyline, a major focus this offseason until somebody is brought in. You're going to hear names bantied about like Jim Harbaugh. You're going to hear names bantied about like, hell, who knows, maybe a Rex Ryan after so many guys like Jaron and Lovey and Trestman with the same type of personality. Maybe the Bears organization feels they need a fiery type of personality. Somebody that ties in to the Bears' glory days of the past. You bring in Buddy Ryan's son, and he's going to be the great savior. Some of the Bear fans will call for Mike Singletary because he's a former Bear. He has that type of fiery personality that's been so lacking. You'll hear all types of different options. And I can make arguments for different names and whether or not they'd be a good fit. But there's one name I keep hearing thrown out. One name that I keep seeing being written about and being discussed that absolutely makes me want to fucking vomit. And definitely makes me shake my head like this. Let me put it as simply as I possibly can. Mike Shanahan is not the answer for the Chicago Bears, period. Mike Shanahan has years of successful coaching pedigree to his name. That is true. That is very true. This is still a guy that for many years coasted off of the 2 Super Bowls that he won at the tail end of John Elway's career in the late fucking 90s when I was still in damn high school. There's a reason that after 2008, a lot of Broncos fans were ready and eager to move on from Mike Shanahan. The time had come. He was a guy that was coasting on a lot of past reputation. Bolin was very loyal to him as the owner, didn't really want to move on, but it got to the point where they had no other real choice. And then he goes to Washington and oversees 1 good season and 3 bad seasons there before he's run out of town after 2013 because, in part, he lost complete and total control of the situation. He's feuding with the owner and the general manager and all this other crap. So now we want to bring him into the toxic environment that has been the Chicago Bears locker room and the Chicago Bears organization, thinking that he's going to be that guy, he's going to be the guy to turn things around. And the even bigger disaster here and the even more ridiculous notion here is the fact that after 6 fucking years of Jay Cutler showing you season after season, time after fucking time, that he is not the answer and it is time to move on. Salary cap consequences be damned. The fact that the Chicago Bears would again be looking at potentially hiring a head coach with the philosophy of trying to get more out of a soon-to-be 32-year-old Jay fucking Cutler. Because Shanahan worked with them in the past and thinks highly of Jay Cutler and thinks that he does tremendous and wonderful things. This is the same Shanahan that benched Plummer in 2006, correct me if I'm wrong, when the Broncos were kind of in the playoff race, went to Cutler and they missed the playoffs. The same Cutler that he went to in 2007 and 2008, and they didn't make the playoffs. The same Cutler in 2008 that even the one time he managed to play well enough to get to the fucking Pro Bowl still had like 18 damn interceptions that year. We want Mike Shanahan in part to work with Jay fucking Cutler because we haven't figured out that Cutler isn't a fucking guy yet? So we're going to fire a coach who has created in part, a toxic environment in that Chicago Bears locker room, replace him with a head coach who does nothing to fight against a toxic environment in the locker room, and in fact, if anything, cultivates and creates it and helps nurture it and makes it grow. All because we want to sit there and get more out of the guy that we gave way too damn much money to because we're fucking morons, because after 6 years we still haven't figured out that Jay Cutler sucks and isn't the long-term answer and is not a franchise quarterback, and furthermore, is never ever going to be a quarterback that you can win an NFL championship with. That's your justification for wanting to go after a Mike Shanahan potentially? That would be your logic? That would be your reasoning? That would be your rationale? So you had Cutler kill one regime. You had Cutler basically help kill another regime. So now you want to bring in yet another coach so that way Cutler could kill yet another fucking regime. All of these reports talking about Shanahan, I believe them because this Bears organization is that fucking stupid. The only thing Mike Shanahan is the answer to is more top 5 to 10 picks in the NFL draft for the Chicago Bears, and even in that case, they'd still find a way to screw it up because it's so often the case in typical Bears fashion, even when they're mediocre, even when they flat out suck, they never do it well enough or bad enough, however you want to look at it, to be able to get the number 1 overall fucking pick to get a real franchise quarterback and really turn shit around. Mike Shanahan. Of all the fucking people, Mike Shanahan. Oh, good Christ. And there are going to be people that think this is great. And there are going to be people that defend this. And they're going to talk about his championship pedigree. And all of this other bullshit. Because that's exactly what it is. It's bullshit. The Bears won the Super Bowl when I was 4 years old. Happened to make it back to the Super Bowl somehow with Rex Grossman at quarterback when I was 25 years old. I don't want to be 46 years old the next time this Bears team happened to make it to the damn Super Bowl. And if they hire Mike Shanahan, they're definitely taking a step in that fucking direction. Look at the job he did in Washington. And you want to bring him into this mess? Because after 6 years, you still can't admit that you're wrong about Cutler and this guy sucks and he needs to go? Oh, fuck. I hope all this bullshit doesn't come to pass, because if it does, Bears fans, there's going to be several more crappy, shitty, long, disappointing years for you watching this stupid organization play games each and every week. It's going to be. Don't spin it positively. You know fucking good and well that hiring Mike Shanahan is a dump truck of stupid, period.